Good sleeping habits are essential to living a long and healthy life. However, as we get older, our sleep patterns can change drastically, and we may feel less energetic during the day. Joining me now to tell us how we can all sleep well and live better is Wayne Peacock, Manager of Sleep and Neurodiagnostics at Baptist Healthcare's Sleep Disorder Center. Wayne, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Well, Sleep Awareness Week is this month, so let's talk about sleep. Why is it so important?
Well, Jeff, sleep is important for several reasons. Studies have shown that sleep impacts hypertension, diabetes, as well as it's when we consolidate our memories and actually our body can rest and regenerate or rejuvenate for the next day.
Well, we always hear, people should get a certain number of hours of sleep. Is that a myth, and does that number change as we age? Tell us about, those numbers we hear, 8 hours, 6 hours. How does that work?
Well, it depends. Every individual is different. However, research has shown that 6 to 7 or 6 to 8 hours per night is a good number of hours for sleep. You'll hear stories of people saying, oh, well, I need only 4 hours of sleep a night. Well, again, research has shown that anything less than 6 hours, you increase your chances of having comorbidities and even increase your mortality rate. So it's important to sleep at least 7 hours a night.
Well, how does aging affect our sleep patterns?
As we age, lots of things happen physiologically, psychologically, and there's a myth out there that our sleep is going to change and that we have to deal with that. That's not necessarily true. Medications can affect sleep patterns. We usually will suggest to patients, if you're starting a new medication and you notice now your sleep's become more fragmented, or what I mean by fragmented is in small segments, talk to your doctor, because that may be a side effect of the medication. In general, what tends to happen is our slow wave sleep does decrease as we age. Scientists aren't really sure why that is. So it is more important to make sure we are getting those consolidated hours of sleep.
Now, even diet can impact sleep, is that correct?
Diet and exercise are a big, big impact on sleep. People who are living less sedentary lives find it more difficult to sleep soundly at night. Same thing with diet. If you have a high sugar diet, it's going to affect your sleep. Caffeine affects your sleep, things like that. Some people will say, I can drink a cup of coffee and go right to sleep. You may be able to do that. However, the caffeine in the coffee is causing your brain to stay in a more alert state at night.
Well, a lot of people say, oh, this is just something that's part of aging and I just have to live with it. When do you know that maybe you need to seek out a sleep disorder center?
Generally, what we recommend to patients, there are a few steps. We do have an online survey that patients can take on the Baptist website that will give them an idea. It'll tell you at the end what your score is and if that means you need to seek help. Generally, we tell people, if you're finding that you're having difficulty concentrating during the day, you can't stay awake, you're sitting in a library reading a book and you start to doze. If that's not normal for you, well, it's not normal anyway. But if that's something that's starting to happen, we recommend speaking with your physicians. There are so many things out there these days. We have home sleep studies, in-lab sleep studies. There are lots of ways for people to seek treatment, and they're a lot less invasive than many people will think.
Tell us a little bit about what might be on that survey, some of the questions, for example, that might be asked.
Generally, it asks about your likelihood of falling asleep in certain situations, sitting in church, sitting in a movie theater, for example. It will ask if you snore, if you have hypertension or high blood pressure. Those things impact sleep. It will also ask difficulty concentrating, mood swings, inability to stay asleep at night or fall asleep. Those are some of the things we look for.
So if someone did that and then they wanted to come in for a diagnostic checkup, tell us a little bit about that experience and the facilities.
Right. Well, we have two facilities with Baptist Healthcare. We have downtown Pensacola at the Baptist main campus, and we have a new center at the Gulf Breeze campus over on Gulf Breeze Parkway. It's all home-like settings, double beds, ceiling fans, individual controlled temperature, bathrooms, showers, so patients can come in and have a shower the next day. We monitor brain activity, heart rate, breathing, A lot of people think they'd never be able to sleep with all the electrodes and wires, but generally most people do. If you're not already having a problem with falling asleep, most people find it very easy to fall asleep. If you are one of those people that already has difficulty falling asleep, it may take you a little longer than normal, but we account for that. The doctors are all board certified in sleep medicine, and they'll make comments on the first night effect is what we call it. But it's fairly simple.
So it's a very comfortable environment, similar to a hotel room, someplace
right.
where they would relax and feel somewhat at home.
Right.
But they're just also having some tests done at the same time.
They are, and we have all licensed sleep staff who spend the night, so to speak, with the patient. They're there monitoring, so if patients need to get up for the bathroom, that's one of the most common questions, they're able to do so. It doesn't disrupt the test. You don't have to stay in bed the entire night. And we tend to try to follow the normal sleep pattern of the patient.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the outcomes from doing this?
One of the most common things we look for in our lab is obstructive sleep apnea. A lot of people have heard of that now, OSA. The treatment is CPAP therapy. Which CPAP is continuous positive air pressure is what it stands for, and it basically splints the airway open using positive pressure. So there's a mask that attaches to a machine beside the bed that keeps the airway open, and it's meant to eliminate snoring and prevent oxygen dips or desaturations at night.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned snoring a couple of times, and that's one thing
mm-hmm.
we saw on the website when we were doing our homework. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about how snoring impacts sleep, and it may not even be just that person, it may be their partner as well.
Bed partner as well, exactly. Most people think snoring's normal. Snoring's not normal. Snoring happens when the air is having difficulty getting in and out of the airway. So the soft palate drops down, the airway occludes, and the vibration of that air rushing in and out is what causes the snoring. And snoring will disrupt your sleep. Depending on how severe your snoring is, it could disrupt your bed partner's sleep. And usually the person affected by it, the patient, doesn't realize they're having a problem.
Right. Well, we want everybody to sleep well and live better, right?
Exactly.
Well, thanks for being here, Wayne.
Thank you.
Great information. We'll be